Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you to all of our families who could make it tonight. We really appreciate your time during this dinner hour. My name is Josh Hartzog, and I am the director of the Washoe County School District's Department of Signature Academies and Career Technical Education. And it is my pleasure to bring to you all tonight information about some of the very special programs that we offer across our school district and around our community. To review, if you are here, we are looking to provide you with information about our Signature Academy programs, especially, as well as a little bit of information about our career technical education programs in Washoe County, and then again, information about some of our other specialized programs in our schools. And with that, a little bit of housekeeping. So to help minimize noise and distractions, microphones will be silenced for all families. Before we get started, I also want to walk you through some tech tips to ensure everyone can easily navigate through this online forum. What everyone should have is a black toolbar on the bottom of their screens. It should appear when you move your cursor. To ask questions, we ask that you please use the Q&A feature at the bottom, which is found by pressing the Q&A icon on the black toolbar. This is where you can submit questions and comments. Please be aware offensive and racial comments will not be tolerated. A warning will be given if this kind of behavior is detected. And if the behavior does not change after the warning, it will result in that person being removed, unfortunately, from our event. The audio quality of this event is based on your individual internet connection. If you are worried about slow internet connections, we recommend you call in via a phone. For this event, we will also have interpretation in Spanish on our bilingual night, which will be taking place on November 23rd. You can visit our website, which we will frequently reference for more information about that evening. And at this point, I will move into our presentation. We want to thank all of you for attending these Passport Nights. And again, in the Q&A box, we have included, at the end of this presentation, rather, we will include information for getting your feedback and input. So we hope that you will ask questions, express any concerns you might have. And again, we will not be able to allow any discriminatory or racist comments or personal attacks. This session is also being recorded and posted to our website, and that is just for your reference. So with that, I want to provide you with a bit of information about what is a Signature Academy especially. So a Signature Academy, in brief, is a specialized high school program that focuses on a particular career path and or area of study. And we offer signature programs at just about every single one of our high schools, with the exclusion of Incline High School and a few other schools. Students in 8th grade can apply to attend a Signature Academy at any high school in the district based on their personal interests. Why should students consider a Signature Academy? Most of them provide career technical education programs, and all of these programs, whether they are CTE based or academic based, they provide students with the opportunity to explore career paths, develop leadership skills, make connections with our local business and industry community, have the opportunity to earn college and or honors credits, and apply hands-on learning in areas such as agriculture, business, engineering, human and social services, etc. Succinctly put, Signature Academies are a fantastic way to study something that immediately prepares you for entering life after high school. We also have information about our career technical education programs that we offer that are not only part of our Signature Academies, but are also simply offered across all of our high schools across the school district. And to access more information on those career technical education programs or CTE programs, you can go simply to washoeschools.net/CTE programs. And if at any point you require further information, or if you want to reference these materials, you can see the link at the bottom of every slide. You can go to our main website, washoeschools.net/SACT, for a copy of this presentation. It's on our main page. Also want to highlight information about a very special resource that we have available to all Washoe County School District students, regardless of grade level. If you direct them to that link right here, wcsd.nv.headed2.com/sign-in, you and your family and your students will have access to the Nevada Career Explorer, which is a wonderful resource that you can leverage to provide your student with resources for career planning and planning for any educational options after high school. And with that, I will turn the time over to our first signature academy of the evening, the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology.
Thank you for that, Josh. Hi, everybody. I'm Tiffany McMaster. I'm the proud principal of the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology. And we are going to kick off this evening with a little video to give you an idea of what our school is all about. So with that, Mr. Cooney, can you cue up the video for us?
Believe it should be ready to go here.
Welcome to the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology, also known as AACT. Here at AACT, we strive for greatness, preparing a student for their future in their chosen careers, and providing the experience needed in order to achieve their goals. But how do we do this? How does the greatest high school in Nevada take a student's personal interest and turn it into a professional career? Unlike regular high schools, AACT provides a variety of 7 different academies: business, agriculture, teaching and training, culinary and hospitality, engineering, medical, and communication arts and media. In order to understand the unique education AACT provides, students must comprehend the diverse set of abilities that each academy helps develop. The Business Academy has 2 student-run businesses on campus, a convenience store and a vending program. This provides students hands-on experience on what it is actually like to own and operate a business. Real-world skills such as customer service, inventory, finance, and marketing are not only practiced, but applied here at AACT. The NRIS Academy focuses on the vital practice of agriculture. Students are educated in agriculture mechanics, management, product sales, and floriculture. The Academy also participates in competitions such as FFA, which further develops student leadership skills, which will help them in future careers. The Teaching and Training Academy grants students the essential elements on educating people of all ages. Students acquire the knowledge of the process of learning and human development. The on-campus pre-K classroom allows students to interact with children up front, as well as understand the concepts of running a real-world classroom. The purpose of the Culinary Academy is to train students into applying hands-on skills and knowledge in the food service industry. The curriculum will begin to prepare students into an entry-level position in the culinary industry by introducing topics such as kitchen safety, sanitation, and nutritional concepts. The Engineering Academy students work to gain technical and logical skills. These include 3D modeling, programming, electronics, and welding. Students are able to use their knowledge in international competitions such as the NASA Human-Powered Rover Challenge, Skills USA, and robotics. The Medical Academy educates students in the ability to perform basic life-saving and/or first aid skills. Through learning these medical practices, students who graduate from this academy receive their REMSA EMT certification. The Communication Arts and Media Academy excels at teaching students the art of filmmaking, journalism, graphic design, and photography. Through the access to state-of-the-art camera equipment and computers, students are able to create a variety of media that impact not just the school, but the community of Reno as a whole. AACT's mission to prepare students for the future is accomplished through the selective courses provided. After students graduate, they are guaranteed to apply their skills and knowledge into jobs and opportunities that they are passionate about.
Hey, my name is Coleman Smith. I graduated from AACT in 2013. I was in the Communications, Arts, and Media Academy. Thanks to AACT and all the tools and skills that I acquired while I was there, as well as Skills USA, which AACT introduced me to, I was able to begin my career in broadcasting. I started my career in broadcasting at CBS 2 News in Reno as a camera operator during my senior year of high school. I then moved on to audio operation and then moved on to directing the shows, which I did for about 3 more years. After that, I relocated to Los Angeles, California, where I now work for KTLA, a local news station, as the director for one of the biggest local morning news shows in the entire United States. Next, hopefully within 5 or so years, I'll go on to direct other national live and live-to-tape shows, such as Ellen, James Corden, Jimmy Fallon, or The View. None of this would have been possible without the help of AACT and all the skills and the connections that I acquired while I was there. It has made living my 20s a lot more comfortable, as well as giving me a job that I actually enjoy. If I had the opportunity to go back to AACT, where I laid the groundwork for what I currently do, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
For more information on how/when to apply to AACT, please visit www.washoschools.net/SACTE or call them by phone at 775-327-3945. Reporting for Trailblazer Media, I'm Janelle Olisea.
So we hope that gives all of you an idea of what AACT is and what we're all about. I am honored that we have representation from all 7 of our academies here tonight. So if you have any questions specific to any of our academies, we can have our teachers chime in and answer those, or we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So if I could get Mr. Hartzog to put the PowerPoint back up and we could advance to the next slide. There's some frequently asked questions that maybe we can start off with just to give you an idea of some things that people often ask. But while we're going through these, just think of any questions you might have. And if you do have a question, go ahead and type it in that Q&A section, and I'll ask that somebody kind of keep an eye on that Q&A section, and we'll start answering those questions as we go. So some of the common things is people want to know what our school day looks like. So we are from 8 a.m. to 2:25. Many of our students stay later than 2:25, from 2:30 to 3 o'clock. We do offer an enrichment class where you can get some extra help and support. We have an A-B schedule, so all students are enrolled in 8 classes, but only 4 classes meet each day. The enrichment at the end of the day is a 30-minute enrichment. So getting to our academy, we are unique in that transportation is provided both to and from zoned high schools as well as Cold Springs Middle School. Buses typically pick students up in the afternoon between 3:30 and 4:15 every afternoon and get you home. So we do have transportation, but it does make our day just a little bit longer. Another common question that people ask is, what about sports? Do you have sports at AACT? The answer to that is no, we don't have sports at AACT. However, any student who attends AACT is still eligible to participate in sports at their zoned high school. So you would need to get transportation from our school back to your zoned high school right after school, and you can participate in sports as usual. I do encourage all of you to go to our website that's displayed here. We do have a virtual 8th grade open house where there's an additional video and some more information and a brochure that you're welcome to take a look at. And then I have my personal email there. You're definitely welcome to email me and ask questions. And if there are very specific questions about a certain academy, I can definitely forward that on to any of our academy teachers. So with that, do we have any questions in the Q&A box?
We do, actually. So I'll step in here and go to our first question that we have, and this might be a question for Ms. Smith, our ag teacher. Regarding vet tech at AACT, is there just the one veterinary science course during the program? And are there additional animal science specific classes, learning opportunities, or internships available as electives?
Hi, everyone. So we do offer a veterinary science course. All students take that. In addition, they're going to take an agriculture science 2 course, which is primarily animal focused. In their freshman year, they'll learn both about plant and animal sciences. In their junior and senior year, we explore internship opportunities through our Career and Technical Education Office, or the AACT office, the signatures office. And in addition to that, they have a supervised agricultural experience where they can work with animals and plants based on their interests. So we have a lot of courses to offer here, and basically they just get a well-rounded experience in agriculture, from everything to flowers, to plants, to agriculture business, and of course, veterinary science. I hope that answers that question.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question. Is there any consideration given to students who may not have great grades due to lack of motivation or interest in traditional school?
I'll go ahead and take that one. I would say that, it's a big commitment coming to the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology because we do have that 8-period schedule. So we have a very rigorous course load, and many of those classes have a big demand. But we do offer that enrichment time to provide that extra support. And we are a small community. Our school has about 575 students, much smaller than your large comprehensive high school. And I will tell you that we are able to provide our students with a lot of one-on-one support and attention. So yes, we have some high academic rigor and we have high expectations for our students, but we also really try to individualize our supports and wrap our arms around our students. We're very proud of the fact that we have a 100% graduation rate. We have really high achievement in terms of our AP course attainment, dual credit, our ACT scores. Those things don't happen by accident. They happen through hard work. So we have high expectations for our students, but we do offer a lot of varied supports to help them reach their goals.
And as we are getting a lot of wonderful questions, we'll do the best to kind of mix it up across a broad range of topics. But just so everyone knows, if we are not able to get to your questions, we will be downloading these questions and posting as many answers as we possibly can at our website, which is again, washoschools.net/SACT. Do these courses go towards college credits as well?
I can answer that one. Most of our courses do have college credits that tie along with them, anywhere from 6 credits all the way up to 20 credits in some of our academies.
Thank you. Can you be more specific about the medical focus at AACT?
Hi, I apologize. My video is not working for some reason, but yes, I can do that. This is Michelle Uritia, and I direct the Medical Academy. So we have 2 pathways in the medical program, and students are entered into both pathways. They don't choose one or the other. The first is a community health science pathway. So they take their health science, they take their medical terminology, and then they take their community health science class their junior year, and they take their completer exam at the end of that course. If they complete that, they get that endorsement on their diploma. We also have the emergency medical technician pathway, and which means they take the health science, the medical terminology, emergency medical services, and then the EMT course, and take the completer and are given the opportunity to get that endorsement as well. They are also eligible to take the final exam in order to be nationally board certified entry-level paramedic.
Thank you, Ms. Uritia.
Yes.
As we're drawing near to our time, a question about music. If AACT does not offer a music program, what options do students have? How would participating in a zone school music program work with the timing and transportation?
So I'll go ahead and take that one. That's another great question. So yes, that is correct. We do not have a music program at AACT. However, many of our students work with their zoned high schools. And the answer to that question really varies greatly from high school to high school. It kind of depends on the class schedule that is offered at that high school. For example, some schools offer some of the music classes as a 0 period or a 10th period class. And so it's easy for our students to either go to those classes before school starts or after. But really it's sort of an individualized response. So we would have to work one-on-one with you as well as your zoned high school. But really the place to start with that would be to call your zoned high school and see what options are available.
Thank you. And with that, I'll go ahead and answer this last question. Does AACT offer the usual subjects as well in addition to the specific academies? And the answer is yes. AACT offers the full typical complement of core classes. And with that, we are going to have to move on to our next school. All of these questions are great questions. If we did not manage to get to your questions here, you can always go to AACT's website, and you can find access to that on washoschools.net or washoschools.net/SACT. You have the contact information for AACT. And with that, thank you very much to our Trailblazers. We appreciate your time with our families and students tonight. With that, we are going to roll right along to Damonte Ranch High School, who will be talking about their Performing Arts Center. And with that, we will turn it over to Mr. Hearn.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Hartzog. My name is Mr. Hearn. Welcome to the theater at Damonte Ranch High School, where we're streaming from this evening. We have 5 different disciplines in the Performing Arts Center program. We have dance, we have drama, and we have choir, music, and band. I'm going to sort of lead you through a little bit of that and hopefully be able to answer some of the questions live for you off of the Q&A as we go. First of all, sometimes students ask right away, if I come do your program at the Performing Arts Center, can I still participate in a sport? And that answer is maybe. Depends on when that sport practices. We have an extended day program, which is part of our schedule here. So when many of the students go home at 2:30 in the afternoon, we have another class that goes from 2:40 to 4:10. So if that interferes with other after-school activities, that might put you in conflict. It doesn't mean that every performing arts student is busy from 2:40 to 4:10 every semester. It depends on what coursework they need next. And so some of the students may be staying after school one year and maybe the next year not so much. So that is something to kind of pay attention to. How do you get into our program? You apply to the signature academies like anything else, but once you've jumped through that hoop with the district signature academies application, we also have an audition. That's the industry standard for performing arts in order to get scholarships, get into schools, and eventually to get work. And so we feel also it's an important part of our process. And you can look to our website for information about the auditions and how to schedule an audition. Starting with dance, our dance coursework required for graduation is made up of a bunch of paired sort of dance disciplines. For example, you can see on the screen ballet and contemporary are taught together, although it may not be that ballet is one semester and contemporary is the next. It might even be that ballet is today and contemporary is Thursday, or ballet is the first half of the period and contemporary is the second half of the period. So it's all kind of mixed up in there. You'll see there's jazz, hip hop, tap, theater dance, choreography, dance, production. We do typically in a year 2 dance productions, one smaller one in the fall, and then a big dance production in the spring. Mr. Hartzog, if we can go to the next slide, please. In the drama program, we have 2 different pathways in order to get to a PAC diploma through signature academies. One of them is through acting, and you can see on your screen there's a list of acting coursework, some of which is unique to Damonte Ranch High School. There's beginning drama. Everyone starts there, even if you've been in plays maybe when you were younger. You probably didn't study theater history or playwriting, for example, as part of being in a play. And we feel like that's a really rich opportunity to kind of grow all aspects of a theater student. So beginning drama, intermediate drama, advanced, and so on. The other strand to get there is through technical theater, which takes care of everything except for acting. So if that's more your jam, then that would be a really great place for you. It's also one of our career and technical education programs for the district. The CTE Tech Theater curriculum is really the only one in this part of the state. And I'm really proud that we offer that. We have 3 different years of that plus advanced studies. And you can see the rest of the curriculum there as you aim toward a diploma in that strand of drama. Mr. Hartzog, if we can take a look at the music slide, thank you. In PAC Music, we have band, choir, and orchestra, and we often have students sort of slipping and sliding between those. In fact, we have students sometimes who are coming to us as PAC dance, and then midway they might shift gears and say, you know what, I really like choir, or they come in orchestra and then say, I really like tech theater. And the instructors here in the program here really wants to foster that creativity and to the best of our ability, enable your ability to slip across those different disciplines and kind of taste them, if you will, and see where you land. We feel it's an exploratory time and we welcome that sort of exploration. In band, there are lots of different ensembles there. It's an award-winning band. Lots of different programs associated with band like Winter Guard and Drumline, jazz. The choir program, we have 4 different choirs there and they consistently rank near the top or at the top in lots of different choir festivals. And our orchestra is associated with the only high school symphony orchestra in our district. And sometimes that symphony orchestra does a performance that also includes choir. And so the whole music program can be involved together in that program. Speaking of collaboration, we do a musical every year in a typical year, which this is not. And that's an opportunity for us to combine band and choir and orchestra and tech theater and the acting program and the dance program, all of it together in one really big, huge, marvelous production. And we're really proud of that. Our next production, which is on stage behind me here in the theater, is Vintage Hitchcock, and that's going to be streaming to homes with no live audience, but we'll stream that the second weekend of December 10, 11, and 12, and tickets will soon be available on the DRHS website. So I think I'm going to take a look now at some of your questions here. So one of them says, is a DRHS PAC good for an acting career? I would give that 2 thumbs up. We have lots of students who come to us as freshmen and they have a really intense liking of theater and all things connecting to theater. And many of our graduates do go on to study theater and then to work in the theater community in many different ways. Not all of our students are destined to be Oscar or Tony Award winning actors. And so that's not really the focus of our program. The focus of our program is to create lifelong arts lovers. Let me see if I can find other...
Mr. Hearn, I can read it to you as well, just to make it easier. Another question for the Dance Performing Arts Center. Do the students have normal curriculum and then the extended day for the dance portion?
That's a good question. For all of us, we have quote unquote normal curriculum for everybody. Sometimes people come and say, yeah, can I still take chemistry if I take advanced drama? And that answer is yes. Our extended day permits students to take 8 classes a year instead of 6. And so it provides a lot of flexibility. The PAC program is not only taught during the extended day, so it's also scattered throughout a student's regular school day in addition to the extended day.
And you still have some time, so I can ask a few more questions if there are none here. And I actually miscued you. You have until 6:05 p.m. to answer any questions our families might submit. Okay. How can you walk us through what the audition process looks like a little bit more in detail?
Sure, I'll talk about it, especially for drama. What that means is you prepare a monologue that's actually comprised of 2 monologues. That's one long line spoken by one actor on stage from a published play. To prepare it means to memorize it and bring some acting choices to it. And we have a rubric and we score your performance for that and provide a rating to the district. And the students who are above the cut score in that performance are invited to join our Signature Academy. A similar structure is available for dance. The first part of it looks a lot like a dance class, but auditioning students are also required to bring a dance that they have choreographed themselves to that performance. And in the music program, depending on what your instrument is, whether it's your voice, a string instrument, or a horn instrument, for example, there is some sight singing and sight reading available there. And also you would be required to bring your instrument and play for the faculty who are here.
Thank you. We have another question. Do you have to be zoned in order to attend this program or go to this school?
You do not, and that's true, I think, for every Signature Academy. You apply through Signature Academies, and if you were granted acceptance, that comes with a variance to be able to attend that Signature Academy. And providing you are taking Signature Academy coursework every year that you're at that high school, then that variance remains in effect for you.
Thank you. We have another question here. Will auditions be in person this year or virtual?
They will be virtual.
So if a student requests an audition, would they be sent a link of some sort, presumably to a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting?
Correct. And actually, I think what we're doing is instead of a meeting or a Zoom, it wouldn't necessarily be a live audition. It would be a recorded audition that you would submit to us, and then we would put into our audition folder for screening.
Perfect. Another question, can you talk about the history of the Performing Arts Center and how long it's been part of Damonte Ranch?
Sure, yeah, we started years ago when Signature Academies first came about. That might be about 8 years ago or so, I'm losing track. And we started first, our first year was just dance and drama. And then our second year, we added all three of the music programs. And we pretty much have been going strong ever since. We started with 4 drama classes and now we are up to 7. So I'm not the only drama teacher. There's another drama teacher, Mr. Wilson, who teaches a couple of the drama classes as well. And everybody is full-time in their disciplines. So it's a rather full plate of drama and dance and music offerings.
Thank you. Another question, would someone be able to be in band at Damonte Ranch, possibly as part of the Performing Arts Center if they attended AACT?
I think that question came up just before with AACT, and I think the best answer is to make sure that you contact the instructor for whatever discipline it is. You asked about band, so I would talk to Ms. Blahnik and say, how can band fit into my program there? Some of the band coursework, like all of our coursework, is taught during the regular school day when you would be at AACT, for example. And so I think the answer to that probably depends on the availability of the class being an after school or extended day sort of a class.
Thank you. Another question, if I wanted to pursue singing, could I do that with Damonte Ranch's Performing Arts Center?
For sure. Our choral program is really strong. We've got lots of great singers there. We also have a strand that is a hybrid between choir and theater that is a musical theater pathway to a diploma. And we have a large handful of students who are really interested in that. And so what they do is they take about half of their coursework from the drama acting side of things, and then the other half of their coursework comes from choir. So it's a bit of a hybrid pathway.
Another question, in a typical year, can you talk about some of the performances across the various strands of the Performing Arts Center, such as how many performances per year of that sort?
Sure. Typically, each of the music programs has 1 or 2 concerts each semester, in addition to taking their material to festivals for different performances. So that kind of keeps them rather busy through the entire year. I mentioned that dance has a fall performance, fall show, and they also have a larger spring dance concert that is a regular full evening of dance, costumes, lighting, and it happens right behind me on stage. So that's exciting. That's a great opportunity for them. In theater, we produce in a regular year anywhere between 8 and 11 shows a year. Our main, I'd say main stage shows that are like 2-hour shows with an intermission, that kind of thing, is generally 3 shows a year. And one of those is a musical. And then the rest are one-act plays that come out of drama club, different classes. Beginning drama does their own play at the end of the year. So there are lots and lots of performance opportunities on our campus.
Thank you. We have a couple more. This might make more sense to you. Do you know what class, example, Scholastic A, Open, or World, is the Winter Guard classified as currently?
That's a really great question, I bet, but I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay, perfect. We have another question. To attend Damonte in general, I presume, do you have to take one of the music, theater, or dance courses just to be a student at Damonte Ranch?
No. So outside of the Signature Academy, the rest of Damonte Ranch High School is a comprehensive regular high school like any neighborhood high school. And you can take AP classes or honors or whatever. Anything from our entire course catalog is available to you. So because we have a performing arts focus doesn't mean that all 1,800 plus of our students take a performing arts class. That would require a lot more faculty than we have now. But we do have a culture of lifting and supporting and applauding the arts here on our campus, whether or not students are directly involved in it. We are often featured in assemblies, for example. So it's high profile.
All right. It looks like we have no more questions at this time. If we have any more questions, we will be sure to direct them to you and the rest of your Academy colleagues. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Hearn. We will move on to Galena High School.
Thank you.
And with that, we will turn it over to Galena High School's STEM Academy, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Adam Shota, and I've got Tom Larson here with me. We've both been in the academy since it started. And to start off with, we're a Project Lead the Way school, which is a nationwide curriculum that does both engineering and medical. However, at Galena, we have two engineering focuses. The first one is aerospace engineering, and the second is environmental sustainability. Both of those courses have similar pathways until you become a junior. Next slide, please, Josh.
Okay, my name's Tom Larson. I teach the Intro to Engineering class. And in that class, the kids will learn what engineering is and what's involved with it. They'll explore engineering as a career, the different pathways. They'll learn the engineering design process and put it to use in a bunch of different ways, anywhere from a lot of hands-on projects that might be one-day instant challenges to projects that may take 2 to 3 weeks working in teams. Students will learn and practice a bunch of different skills like teamwork, collaboration. They'll learn sketching techniques to communicate their design ideas. They'll learn a CAD program so that they can 3D model and create prototypes for their design solutions. And then they'll learn how to create working drawings from those designs. And then they'll also get an opportunity to learn how to use some hand and power tools that they'll be able to use for building projects later on, well, in their first year class and also throughout the rest of their program when they want to create prototypes for different design solutions.
The next course is the Principles of Engineering course. The Principles of Engineering course is basically an applied physics course. It is probably the most math intense course we have. During that class, they learn about simple machines in the fall, but then they follow up in the spring with a lot of robotics and coding. It is definitely it is a difficult course. However, the students, depending on what university they want to go to, can receive up to 3 college credits for that class. Once they complete Principles of Engineering, they get to make a choice. They can take aerospace engineering or environmental sustainability. If they take aerospace engineering, in the fall, they're going to focus very much on the physics of flight planning, navigation. We do quite a bit with drones in terms of the basics of how to fly a drone, the mechanics of how they work, and then we get into aircraft themselves. In the spring, we hit orbital mechanics, and we finish off the spring semester with more robotics. The robotics for the aerospace engineering are more focused on remote sensing, so simulating having a rover on a distant planet and programming it to avoid obstacles or drive itself autonomously. The environmental sustainability course is very similar to an AP environmental class, except for the projects. There's long-term projects and there's a lot of short-term projects, but the content is fairly similar. Once you finish up those 2 years, we do have a senior engineering course, and it's probably the neatest thing to teach. It's also the most difficult. They do a complete senior engineering project from start to finish. They identify a problem statement. They then come up with solutions. They test it. They talk to experts. And it all culminates right before they graduate with a public presentation of their engineering projects. In that point, they are communicating with people in the public. It's an open forum where any professional from out the community is invited to come and observe. And it's actually their final. They get graded then and there, and that is their final. Along with all these courses, most of our students participate in either the construction technology courses or the metalworking courses. And a lot of that comes back to the prototyping. For starting in aerospace, they do a lot of 3D modeling, and they continue that through their senior course as well. All right, we're ready for some questions. If they're asking for Galena, there is no transportation available. You have to get yourself there.
I'll go ahead and ask a question while other people are formulating them. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the STEM Academy and how long it's been at Galena?
We started a year behind everybody else, so I think we have 7 years under our belt, give or take. We've had a lot of success in the past. Our first or second year in, we were one of the national winners for the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow Challenge. 2 years later, we were a state winner. So the Academy's done quite a bit. I have a ton of students. I actually have 2 students that are coming back to speak to my seniors now that are previous graduates. And they tell us that after they go through the Academy, their first year or 2 of engineering courses at the university, they're extremely well prepared for it. They tend to outperform their peers. And a lot of this is because Project Lead the Way is based upon a college engineering pathway. It looks fairly similar to a college pathway. It is not the same, but it looks fairly similar. Other than that, the students tend to be successful in traditional pathways. We do have some students that go on to medical pathways at UNR, and they take the information, the problem-solving skills that they learned, and do a really good job with it.
Another question here. How do these courses from the STEM Academy intertwine with normal high school classes?
It's a single class. It's an elective. Other than that, it is 1 class per year.
Could you give an example of what type of project would be done in the environmental sustainability path of the STEM Academy?
There's 2 of them I could tell you right away. Number 1, they do a semester-long hydroponics activity where they pick plants and try to yield the largest crop. The other is where they try and come up with a solution for pollution issues and trash issues. Those are 2 that I know of. They do some DNA sequencing as well, but that one's always dependent upon materials and cost.
One of our listeners thought they heard you mention a medical program too, but only the engineering areas are what we're discussing. Was this heard wrong?
That Project Lead the Way offers a medical pathway, and if you go to the website, you will see it. We do not. We are an engineering only pathway for Project Lead the Way.
What if you don't want to participate in the STEM program, but presumably you are zoned for Galena High School?
You may not take any of these classes. So these classes are only given to students that are in the STEM Academy.
Can you speak to what programs the Galena STEM Academy is using for 3D modeling or CAD or drone programs?
Okay, so for 3D modeling, traditionally we've used Autodesk Inventor. However, this year, Project Lead the Way has actually got a contract with what's called Onshape, which is a completely cloud-based system, which is quite amazing. I will say one of the other major advantages of being a Project Lead the Way school, when we went to Pure Distance, there's thousands of high schools across the nation that are Project Lead the Way high schools. There's an organization that's trying to collect information, and the resources were immense. So me as a teacher, I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. There were literally hundreds of teachers working together, and our distance learning resources are quite immense. And that's actually how Onshape came to be part of the Project Lead the Way curriculum. Inventor's it requires a really nice computer. It's hard to move files back and forth, whereas Onshape does not. So Project Lead the Way stepped up, paid the fees to have that available for all the students at our school.
Obviously, there's a heavy engineering focus, but can you talk about, in terms of your typical student that enters the STEM Academy, what is that typical student in terms of their skills or interests?
We have the gamut of students. We have everybody from the valedictorian to your average student. You do need to have some math skills in order to be successful. Typically, most students come in to formal geometry. It's not required, but it definitely will make your job a lot easier. The second course, Principles of Engineering, it uses a lot of applied physics concepts, And if you're not familiar with some basic geometry and algebra 2 functions, it makes that course very challenging.
Can you talk about any particular projects or units that may be particularly interesting for students considering your program to hear about?
I would say that the students tend to have the most fun when they get to their third year. Their first year is a lot of introduction to 3D modeling, some good activities that they really enjoy. The second year, the robotics are entertaining. I will tell you what is a little unique about our course. When you get to the third year, you have to use everything from the first 2 years. So when I give the kids a problem, they have to use skills acquired in the first 2 years to solve that problem. I don't review that skill set. I don't reteach that skill set. It's very much a linear flow in terms of the expectation is, well, in your first year, you learned how to do 3D modeling. In my aerospace course, they do a lot of 3D modeling of whether it's an airfoil or a variety of objects. The expectation is that they have the skills and they use them.
Not only that, we have a lot of interesting equipment kids get to use, from 3D printers to laser engravers, plasma cutters, and then all the equipment that's available in the wood shop and the metal shop for their prototyping.
Thank you. Are there any sort of particular devices or personal computers that students should have for classes, or is that provided through the program?
Everything's provided. Obviously, with distance learning, things are a little different, but typically the students do not need anything themselves.
Do grades or GT status at all affect your odds of acceptance into the STEM Academy?
No. As everybody, at least that on the call kind of knows, the schools do not handle the applications. The applications go through the school district. We simply get a list from the district of accepted students.
And for on that point, if there's more information about specifically the qualifications for students to be eligible to apply or rather enroll in one of these programs, you can go to washoschools.net/SACT and you can click on the area regarding signature academies, or you can go directly to washoschools.net/signature academies, and that will take you to a set of resources that provide you with more detailed information about qualifications and eligibility. Someone asked the question, what if you start this program and then change your mind?
You can get out of the course. It's not a problem at all. The only thing I'd say is it depends on sports. I saw there's a question that says, are students eligible to play varsity sports while enrolled in the program if they're not zoned for Galena? You can, but there's a lot of stipulations there. So I'd like to answer that one kind of separately. And that is, if you do come to Galena as a freshman and play a varsity sport, if you leave Galena, you will not be eligible to play a varsity sport for 1 full year.
And on that point, there's a lot more detailed information also at washoschools.net/signature academies. There is a frequently asked question document that you can reference, and it spells out in greater detail the implications of playing varsity sports at Galena, especially if you are on a variance outside of your school zone. Another question here is our time. I think this might be the last question that we have time for. If you have a student who already has experience with 3D modeling and robotics, how much differentiation can be done in the classroom?
I would say that one of the beauties about PLTW is there is no limit to how far a student can go. I'm also a science teacher, and one of the things I'll tell you in my chemistry class, I tend to limit how much knowledge the student gains based on the content of the course. When you have a completely open-ended curriculum, it allows for the students to go far beyond anything of my skill set onto areas where you couldn't even imagine. I would say that most of my students, by the time they're in my aerospace class, are significantly better than me and more knowledgeable than me in 3D modeling in a variety of areas, because we don't really limit what they can do.
All right, and with that, we will continue to answer questions on our SACT website as we are able to, and you also will have access to this presentation again and contact information for Galena to follow up with the questions as needed. We are going to turn over to Hug High School and their Health and Human Services Academy. And with that, I will be turning it over to Miss Osterhage.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm super excited to share this information with you. My name is Melissa Osterhage. I am the CTE department lead over at Hug High School, and I teach the health science and sports medicine programs over there. But we have 3 programs in our signature academy. Josh, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. The first one is baking and culinary. Oh, can you go back? Thanks. Okay, we have a baking and culinary academy. You have the opportunity to earn 21 college credits upon graduation there. It is a 3-year program. So you start out with culinary 1, and then you move into baking 1 and then baking 2. And the kitchen is an industrial kitchen, so it's fantastic. It's brand new, only 4 years old. And we also have a student store that is attached to that. So in a normal year, the kids get to make their products and then sell them to staff and to students at the store. So they also get the business side of baking and culinary as well as the practical side. It's open to a lot of different fun careers. Our chef that's over there has traveled a bunch of different places and worked in the hotel industry as well as in private industry with his skills. So he has lots of information to offer you as far as working in other cultures. So it's a very exciting program over there. Again, it is a 3-year program with that 4th year. Sometimes he uses that as an advanced studies where you can work with internships throughout the community. And go ahead to the next slide. The next program we have is our human development program. It goes from pregnancy through death. So it covers the whole lifespan. Miss Levig is the teacher of that. We are fortunate to have a preschool that is also at Hug, and her classroom is adjoined by that preschool. So they have a one-way mirror in there where they can observe the children throughout the day. And they also do a lot of lessons with the preschoolers. Unfortunately, this year we're not able to do that as much. But they will, make lesson plans to teach the preschoolers and do some reading work and actually interact very closely with those preschoolers. They also have the Real Care electronic babies. So for another learning tool, she issues babies out to you, the electronic babies that you take home, and you are responsible for taking care of that baby for several days to really get you into learning about what it's like to take care of a baby. They do several service learning projects throughout the year and throughout the community, and they are partnered with TMCC, like most of us are, with a dual credit in the We Teach program. So upon graduation, you can earn 6 college credits in that program. The health science sports medicine program, it is a 4-year program-ish. It's 3 years and then an advanced studies class. In your first year of health science, you get kind of an overview of what healthcare is, all different avenues of healthcare. So we cover a wide variety. You'll also learn CPR and first aid. And before you graduate your senior year, you will become CPR certified. We teach emergency response and then treatment. We have a great partnership with the UNR Medical School, and where each student gets medical school mentors their freshman year, and those mentors continue along the pathway with you. So by your third year, now you have grown with your third year medical school student. So it's a great partnership. They offer mentorships, not just in the medical students with study skills and planning and preparation and setting up planners and agendas. We usually do a tour of the medical school at least once or twice a year. And they also are super proud supporters. They provide us scrubs every year for our new class, and we wear scrubs once a week at school. They come in and guest speak with us. We down as well, where we get to tour the hospitals. They offer great internships for our students with those opportunities. We do have one dual credit class, is medical terminology. Students take that as a senior, and we apply that with their advanced studies class, where they can really put those terms into use and practical programs. HOSA is our student leadership program, and we have a 100% of participation rate in our HOSA program. That program offers leadership skills and opportunities to compete against other students across the state and possibly across the nation in the different health science skills that we learn throughout the year. We have a 100% graduation rate in the Health Science Academy, which is, we're very, very proud of that. And upon graduation, you'll get 11 college credits with the health science program.
And with that, I will jump in with a question as people continue to formulate their questions. Can you talk a little bit about again, the history and the background of the Health and Human Services Academy and how long that's been a part of the Hug High School community?
I've only been a part of it for 4 years. This is my 5th year, but I believe it's been going for 8 years. It has been a huge asset to the Hug community, as well as to the students that have that diverse opportunity to come and participate in that Health Science Academy, as well as taking their general ed classes along with that. Our program continues to grow and change every year. We try to bring in as many new technologies that we can and provide the students with the most up-to-date medical technologies.
Thank you. Another question, this is for Hug and for any one of our other programs, but for Hug in particular, if you started out in, say, one program such as baking and decided that you wanted to move over to health science, is that possible?
That is an option. It's also, we have several students that have graduated with CTE credentials in both programs or in 2 programs. So we've had several that have gone the baking or culinary path and the health science path as well. It makes your schedule a little bit tough because there's not a lot of leniency in when our classes are offered, but it absolutely is possible to do both, or it is possible where our programs are 3-year programs. If you start out in one as a freshman and you're just not sure that that's exactly where you want to go, we accept students as sophomores as well into our programs. So you can get in as a freshman or a sophomore.
With respect to the UNR mentorship program in medicine, can you talk a little bit more about what that program is like and what students are able to enjoy in terms of benefits of that program?
Yes, absolutely. It is an amazing program. I absolutely love it. We've still been able to keep it going through this COVID times. We've had to make our meetings virtually, but we have a great partnership. So our freshmen are teamed with first-year medical students from UNR. They actually started the program called Mentors in Medicine. And so we match them up 1-to-1 ratio. And in a typical year, those mentors come down to the high school and spend one class period a month with our students. They'll do workshops on learning how to put in sutures or stitches. We just had one today where they learned about the different radiology equipment. And then they also offer help and assistance. They brought all of the students planners, and the first meeting that we had showed them how to keep an accurate planner so they could stay organized, especially in this digital world that we're living in right now. And then as our students at the high school then grow to their second year, those mentors grow with them. So they keep their mentors all 3 years until the UNR med students go off into their residency or specialties. So every year we reconnect with our mentors once school starts, and then the new group of freshmen get their first year mentors. So it's a really awesome opportunity. They exchange numbers, and I have several kids that, maybe they'll meet for coffee and they talk about stress leading up into finals. And so it's a pretty awesome program that gives the student a wide variety of help and assistance, as well as showing them what that next level looks like in the healthcare field.
Thank you. Can you talk about any particular cases that come to mind of students that have moved into career paths? You don't have to use names, but just any particular examples of careers that students have moved into as graduates of the Health and Human Services Academy?
Yeah, we've had a variety. I know a lot of people think that just the health science and medicine is all doctors and nurses, and maybe that's not exactly what they want to be involved in. I had a student a couple years ago. She was an amazing student, but just the blood and the gore of being a traditional doctor and stuff just wasn't for her. She ended up getting a job at Renown, working in their administration or admittance, in their admittance area. So she still could stay in healthcare, use her knowledge that she gained with the employability skills and the workplace readiness that we really focus on. And having the medical knowledge as a background helped her when people were coming in to being admitted into the hospital. So that's one area that is kind of on the other spectrum that people don't think about. I've had several that have gone into the military sciences or into the military after graduation, where they're now serving as Army medics, whether that's out on the field, or I have one gal who graduated several years ago and she is a pediatrician at one of the bases. So they were able to use their skills in a variety of ways.
Thank you. And then I think we have time for one last question here. Do the various medical programs at AACT, HUG, READ, for example, ever take classes together or ever participate in any general events together?
We do. We don't take classes together, but with the HOSA student leadership program, we do a lot with Spanish Springs and with AACT as well, a little bit with READ, but we work with and compete against, so it's kind of a little bit of both with those other programs in the district.
And when you say compete, can you explain that a little bit? Where and how do you compete with each other?
Yeah, for sure. So every year they have what they call a student leadership conference, SLC. It's held in the springtime, and students can then participate. They participate in leadership workshops, and then they also compete in a variety of areas, from resume writing to first aid and CPR techniques to sports medicine techniques, medical assisting. It's pretty much any gamut of the healthcare system. We go and they compete in those events, and it's also a really fun networking way for the students to meet others across the state. And then after those competitions, there's awards ceremonies and opportunities to advance to a national level to also compete in those events.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Ms. Osterhage, for your time. And with that, we will move on to Innovations High School.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will transition over to Ms. Harper, representing Innovations High School.
Thanks, Josh. Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Harper. I am the lead learner or principal at Innovations Big Picture Learning High School. I also am joined somewhere on the screen by our Learning Through internship coordinator, Ms. Deirdre Carney. And the first thing that I'm going to do is share a video with you. We do not have a PowerPoint intentionally so that we can have some open-ended dialogue, hopefully during our time. So I'm going to share this video with you. Oh, actually, Josh, I don't think it'll allow me to do that until you stop sharing.
I will give it a try.
Okay, thank you.
My Zoom just quit.
The school culture at Innovations High School is very, very unique in that we have a very, very strong focus on restorative practices here. We build the school culture by building relationships first. All of the humans that are involved with Innovations High School are part of a very large family. And what we hope the experience is for scholars who come here is that it is active, personalized learning that is happening. We want to find out what excites them first, and then we start weaving in the core curriculum. There's also a lot of autonomy to the learning experience for each individual scholar here.
Since I'm able to explore those passions, I've seen an increase in being excited about the English class, or I'm in government right now, and I really enjoy that.
We're more about the student in the sense that we're going to take care of you first, then we're going to take care of what you need to do for school.
I was dabbling in things that a lot of teenagers should not be doing, and when I came here, the advisors gave me the strength to overcome those obstacles and start focusing on my future and focusing on my academics.
I've had a lot of positive experiences and actually want to learn at the school, and I've gotten my grades up tremendously. I've worked on myself personally through meditation and through yoga class.
Once a scholar comes to Innovations High School and gets to know their advisors, they're spending a lot of time delving into what excites them, what lights their fire. And then the magic happens and they are able to go out into the community and have a full-blown internship.
It built my confidence and it built my willingness for getting out into the community and doing things, and it helped me build my need and desire to help others learn.
Ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to become a pilot, and the internship program really broadens your horizons with things. It really pushed me on getting better grades, because before I was failing every class and I didn't really care about school.
When I first started here, I just didn't really want to do the internships. I didn't want to be open, I guess, because this school's really open, and that was something I'm not used to. So now I'm taking it all in.
We're a part of the Big Picture Learning Network. We also are a part of the Education Reimagined Network. We have scholars that have had the exciting opportunity to attend an all student-led conference. So we're very lucky to be a part of a lot of big international and national movements in education.
I've jumped out of my comfort zone. This school has inspired so many students into music, art, all this other stuff.
I feel like this is more of a family than a school. It really is. Whenever I come here, I always see everyone with smiles on their faces, and it really makes me happy. All the love and support has really helped me out.
We try really hard to make this place very home-like. The feeling of walking in the entry should feel like coming home. We're definitely full of hugs and love here. I think that they would feel appreciated for being uniquely themselves right from the get-go. All right, so to just maybe answer a few, maybe predict a few clarifying questions. Innovations High School is a comprehensive high school of choice for grades 9 through 12. We are not considered a signature academy. We are one of the many choices of Washoe County School District. We are on an application system, and what makes us different is that our timeline is a little bit different. We are on a 3 trimester a year schedule. So our trimesters are 12 weeks long rather than semesters or quarters. We have plenty of opportunities for families to come. We are still, even during COVID, offering tours, of course, with PPE and social distancing protocol in place. But we like to personalize even the exploratory experience of families wanting to find out more about innovations by coming in or scheduling a Zoom and meeting with us to talk about what the whole program looks like. We are a Monday through Friday school, and our schedule looks a little bit different in that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are academic workshop days. Those are where you are taking your core academic classes for your credits for graduation. We are a fully accredited high school. And then Wednesdays are what we call advisory or internship days. So ideally, when a pandemic is not an issue, the school building is empty and all of our scholars are out in the community with one of our 800 community mentors in the community doing an internship. So I'm not sure if there are questions right now.
There are not any questions in the chat box, but I'll go ahead and ask a few questions while people are thinking. Could you expand, you touched on it briefly, can you expand a little bit more on the big picture learning model and what all that entails?
Thank you, Josh. So the big picture learning model, we are a part of an international organization of schools. We have about 76 schools in the United States and also several schools across the globe. We have schools in Kenya and the Netherlands and Australia. And the main components of being a big picture school are first and foremost a very strong advisory structure. Each scholar, once they are accepted to Innovations High School, is partnered and they are able to choose through a week of orientation and learning about the advisors. They choose their advisor, and that is the person that they are with from the day they join our school family until they graduate and afterwards. So internships are the next part of our foundation. Learning through interests is very important, not just on internship days, but also in how we structure our curriculum and planning each trimester. It's kind of a backwards planning design in that we know we have standards to meet. We know that our scholars have to earn credits, but we want to know first and foremost how they learn best, what they're super excited about and interested in, and then we plan our trimester curriculum around the specific chemistry in each class. And then the last thing is, you can't, it's a large network that is very hyper aware of global community issues. And it's really hard to be a scholar or a staff member in a big picture school without becoming an activist yourself. So that's another really strong component of a big picture learning school.
Thank you. We have a question in the Q&A box. How many people do you accept into your school? Is there a limit to the number of students?
We try to keep it small because the advisory structure is about a 12-to-1. So our capacity is at about 165 scholars a year. We are low right now, and I think everyone knows why, but we accept scholars 3 times a year through the application process. I want to make it also very, very clear that the common denominator in humans that are accepted into Innovations is they may be disengaged from the large, comprehensive traditional learning environment. And that's not to say anything negative about our large schools. They're doing amazing and wonderful things. Some kids and some families just don't fit into that groove. So we're not necessarily worried about your grades. We're not worried about your test scores. The most important thing is that you want something different and that you are willing to commit to being a part of our school culture and showing up for yourself.
Thank you. Another question, does Innovations include any studies in the veterinarian pathway or career field?
So with the beautiful thing about having an internship program, I mean, we could not even possibly offer all of the classes necessary for every interest that we have coming into our building. So with our database of upwards of 800 community members that are willing to host and work with interns, we've had several scholars that have been in animal sciences and veterinary internships, and several of them have actually gone on to post-secondary studies in veterinary medicine or equine therapy, or I mean, like literally you name it, whatever you're interested in, we will help you find an internship in that field.
And with that, we had a question, how many years, which presumably means how long is your typical internship experience for a student?
The internships can vary. They could be something as short as a trimester, which is 12 weeks, because you could think that you want to be a teacher and go and work in an elementary classroom for 12 weeks and then decide that you'd rather work with plants for the rest of your life. So those internships can be short, and they can also extend through your entire high school career. It just depends. We encourage our scholars to explore a variety of interests before they graduate, but that's definitely a fluid component.
Thank you. Another question, is Innovations considered a charter school?
No, we are not. We are a Washoe County School District comprehensive high school of choice.
And with that, can you talk a little bit about the history of Innovations and how long it has existed as Innovations High School?
Innovations High School is would be considered a turnaround school. When Innovations High School turned into Innovations High School, prior to that, it was what was considered Washoe High School. That was at the time a credit recovery school with a very, very low and underperforming graduation rate. So the state said either we need to turn it around or shut it down, and we turned it around. So we closed the doors of the previous school and reopened as the first big picture learning school and the only big picture learning school in the state of Nevada. And this is our 7th year of being Innovations High School and part of the Big Picture Learning Network.
Another question, is transportation provided to Innovations?
That's a hard no. We do offer free bus passes to all of our families. So they're coming from every part of our community, and they get here. I mean, our attendance rate floats around 96% average daily attendance on good days. So unfortunately, we don't have district transportation, but people are making it work.
And possibly our last question, you touched on it briefly before, but can you come back to your typical student that attends Innovations in terms of their interests or their skills? What does a typical student at Innovations look like, if there is such a type?
I used to really get stressed out about this question, Josh, and now it just makes me happy to hear it asked. It's all humans. It's all humans. So any scholar who's interested in coming to a very small school environment where the culture is first and foremost happy and loving and very, very personally connected, anyone is welcome at Innovations High School. Like I said earlier, the most important thing is the scholar has to want it. It's not about adults wanting it for them. It's something that we hope they're fully invested in.
And I think on that note, I can't think of a better way to end your school segment. So if anyone has any more questions for the team at Innovations, here's their contact info. And with that, we'll thank you, Ms. Harper, and we will move on to McQueen High School.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to McQueen High School, their Global Studies Academy will be represented by Ms. Kelly.
Good evening. I am Elizabeth Kelly. I'm one of our assistant principals at McQueen. And you can see on the screen that we offer a global studies program that has really 3 branches. So Under Global Studies, we have first the International Studies program, which focuses on a foundation in world languages. We offer French, German, and Spanish. And our students that participate in International Studies are looking to expand their knowledge of languages, but in multiple languages. So most kids are actually, part of the program is the expectation that you would proceed for all 4 years, taking 2 languages and attain that advanced placement, or like a college level expertise, knowledge in those world languages. This program is one that was kind of the bedrock of our Global Studies program, and really focuses on that idea that to be global citizens, you have to have an awareness, not just of the language, but of the culture of multiple countries and of the world in itself. Secondly, we have a program that focuses on music. We have an exceptional music program at McQueen with multiple facets. So we have an orchestra that contains a chamber orchestra, a concert orchestra, guitar, and this year we've added an eclectic styles ensemble that just really looks at a variety of cultural music, a variety of instrumentation, and just brings that to life in our program. We also have a exceptionally renowned band, marching band. We have a percussion unit. We also have a winter guard. We have a wind ensemble, jazz band, concert bands. Both of these entities have performed in major competitions, festivals, rose parades, lots of exciting things that go along with that on normal years. And lastly, we have an amazing choir program that again offers multiple ensembles, including a cappella, jazz, men's chorus, women's chorus. And again, they have performed in Carnegie Hall and in various locations. So it's really fun. Again, all of those programs are focusing on bringing that idea of culture and a global community to our students and with our students through the genre that you're studying. So whether it's world languages, whether it's music, and then visual arts. So our visual arts program covers a full range of ceramics instruction. We also offer an in-depth photography program, drawing, 2D design, and we offer AP levels in all of those classes. So I think that it's a one umbrella that offers multiple ways to excel, and they overlap. So a student taking an international studies focus is certainly very often is part of a musical ensemble or is taking classes in the visual arts as well. So it all wraps together. The last little thing we have there is a little note about our CTE program, which is also something that kind of goes hand in hand, a little bit different, but we have a culinary program, we have a human development program, computer tech and robotics program, and manufacturing and auto technology. So none of these are exclusive. They kind of all go back and forth. So that's kind of the gist. Is there questions, Josh?
Yes, we have one question. Are there veterinarian studies also offered at McQueen?
That is not something that we offer, no. Our human development program is probably the closest thing that kind of leads into a medical kind of focus, but it's a different kind of program. What else?
We have another question. Can students take both art and music classes as part of the Global Studies Academy?
Absolutely. You would be asked to kind of choose your focus, but there is many students overlap in terms of the visual arts and music and languages.
Thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit more about any of the, in a typical year, what are some of the more highlighted events that represent the Global Studies Academy in any of these particular focus areas?
Absolutely. So when this program, when international studies first started, or global studies, it started along with a partnership with a school in Austria, where our students, every other year, we have students that go to visit their school for a week, and every other year they come to spend time at McQueen. So it's a truly amazing opportunity to explore culture outside of our own community and to share our culture. So that's one aspect. In terms of our music programs, it is just a whirlwind of opportunities of performance and competition, whether it's traveling into California to other sporting events where our kids have been able to participate. The Rose Parade is one of them. And working with UNR, with the city honor bands, and performing in those kind of festivals. We also have a theater program where our kids are doing musical theater. They're hosting concerts at school. So it's pretty much a revolving door of performance and competition, honestly. So it's a pretty cool thing. At the end of the school year, our students then our seniors, this is kind of their culminating project, is to present using their world language that they studied, their experience before a group of peers and parents that kind of explains what they gained out of this. So it's a presentation. Our visual arts students put on a show where they, again, not only show their pieces of art and their focus that they've gained over their years of study, but also use their world language that they've studied to communicate that.
Thank you for that. We have a specific question. Are you able to elaborate on American representatives in youth leadership programs?
We have a lot of partnerships in terms of the international community here. And specifically, I don't have a lot of information on that. So I'm going to give a very vague answer. No, I don't have a lot of experience with that. But our kids do have an opportunity to work through the international community here in Reno and then participate in international conventions where they are able to meet other students from around the world.
Thank you for that. Another question here. Can you please provide more detail about your visual arts curriculum? Is there any animation, etc.?
We don't have an animation program. That would be an amazing thing to add. We are doing more and more with computers and computer technology. So I don't rule that out as something that couldn't be a part of it, but at this point in time, we don't offer that. We do offer a fairly extensive photo program. That would probably be the closest things in terms of using imagery and computers, etc.
Thank you. We had another question for global studies. Is there traveling or is there still a travel abroad component?
Well, right now there's not. We certainly would like to continue. It is one of the things that really makes this program connected to the global community, is being able to travel abroad. So it is something that I wouldn't rule out for the future. We'd like to continue it, but of course, right now that isn't something that we can consider. So it will be a matter of re-implementing it once we're out of our current situation. But our teachers are always looking for those opportunities where our students are actually engaging with others of either the arts experiences or various cultures. Absolutely.
Thank you. Another question, are art classes at McQueen limited to students only in the Signature Academy, or do Signature Academy students get first choice?
Neither. Our art classes and our music classes are open to all of our students. But I would say that the global studies students, they have that added component of being part of a special family at McQueen. So they have a little bit of a deeper connection with each other. But our classes are open to all of our students, our language classes as well. So everything is open. Any student can take any of these classes.
Thank you. Another question here, and you touched on it as best you could, but I'll come back to it. It came up again. How does a student participate as an American representative in youth programs by being in the International Studies program?
You know, I am going to just put that one on hold, and I'll see if I can get some more information, and we'll post it on our website so that that's a little better explained, because I really don't have that information. I'd hate to give an inappropriate answer.
Very good. What about the manufacturing program at McQueen? Is that a part of the Global Studies program, or is that its own CTE program?
It is its own CTE program, and it is just kind of in its infancy. So we are working to build that program, and we'll see where it develops. But we have some great partnerships and a real exciting new teacher who's going to take us all kinds of places with it. So we're excited about it.
Here's another question, and I'll add a little bit to it possibly. The question is, how do the global studies students connect outside of the classroom? And that is presumably with, do global studies students have the opportunity to connect with any other students from around the world in a typical year?
In a typical year, we have hosted students from multiple different countries. So over the years, it's been several different visitors that we've had. They've come and they've shadowed our students, gone to classes with them, they have some social events. So it's that's been very fun and an integral part of being a global studies community. We've had students from obviously Austria, but I believe Nigeria. We've had teachers that come to school from multiple different places and share their cultures with our students. So it is part of that, the focus. Now, and then you also asked about kind of becoming that family piece. So as part of the Global Studies program, what we've tried to do is assign teacher mentors to our students. So a group of students would work with one teacher as a mentor, and that teacher is checking in with them, making sure they're on track with their work, but also providing that community that lets them feel like this is something that's important and special. The same thing with belonging to, let's say, our music program. Our music program is really one of those places where kids belong. They see themselves as part of the identity of that program. And our teachers work very hard to create an environment where every kid is accepted and where I guess our differences, whether it be global or individual, are the things that allow us to excel. So I would say that it's a community that is very open, welcoming, and then reaching out beyond our borders so that we're meeting all kinds of kids and people from across our planet, I guess.
Thank you. Looks like we are going to transition over to North Valleys High School at this time. If anyone has any additional questions for McQueen's Global Studies program, again, they can go to our website, washoeschools.net/SACTE, or they can reach out to McQueen High School direct with Ms. Kelly as your point of contact. Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh.
With that, we will transition to our last school and program of the night, the Center for Agricultural Science and Engineering, the CASE program at North Valleys High School with Miss Lenz.
Actually with Mr. Lenz, and here I am.
Mr. Lenz, the other Lenz.
Yeah. I'm the ag mechanics teacher over at North Valleys High School, and we are the CASE Academy, or the Center for Agriculture Science and Engineering. And what we focus on is agricultural mechanics, diesel technology, and then agriculture science. So we do a lot of greenhouse things and animals. I know some people ask about veterinary science. We definitely cover that in our class. So just to cover basically what the classes are, agricultural mechanics covers everything from residential electrical wiring, shielded metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding. We do plumbing, we do some basic construction, we do concrete, we do automotive restoration, we do single multi-cylinder engines. It's a 4-year long class. The completers complete in 3 years, but really we fill all 4 years if you're there for it. And we have a lot of fun. We have the only ag mechanics class or ag mechanics program in Washoe County. It's a beautiful shop. We also have one of 2 diesel programs at North Valleys High School. Mr. Carducci teaches that class, and they have a whole range of big diesel engines in there that they're working on, and they do everything. You know, freshman year, you start with things like brakes and alignments and kind of the basic oil changes type thing you do as an entry-level mechanic, and you work your way all the way up to taking apart and putting together engines, and kids working on their own little hot rods and cars in that class. It's a really neat place to be. Moving over to the ag science program, which is taught by my wife, Mrs. Lenz, and that they have a really nice, beautiful greenhouse. We finished it about 5 years ago now. And that's a commercial greenhouse. They do poinsettias in the fall, do the garden starters in the spring. And she also incorporates some outdoor type activities, and they do vet tech, vet science, bunch of other things. But North Valleys High School is just a fantastic community also. We definitely have music programs, athletic programs. We have a great drama program. We have a bunch of other CTE classes, including things like military science. We actually have an Air Force military science program there, which is really neat, only one in the district. We have computer-aided design and drafting at North Valleys High School. We have a really good culinary program, and we have a fledgling cybersecurity program, which has been started up this year, and they're really rocking it in there. So really, North Valley is a great place to be. We have a lot of fun there. You probably, if you guys are paying attention to CTE stuff, saw us last year launching pumpkins out with some of the other programs and with our big trebuchet. This year, of course, has been a little bit slow with COVID, but we're still keeping rolling, and we'd love to see you guys there next year. At that, if I open up to your questions, I'd love to answer some questions about North Valley's Center for Agriculture Science and Engineering.
Thank you. So we did have a question, and this again is, you touched on it briefly, but would this be a program for someone interested in becoming a veterinarian?
Absolutely. Our program or the program at AACT both cover agricultural science, and they cover some of the vet science stuff. And Ms. Lenz has an extensive part of her class that she covers a lot of animal science type subjects. She actually has a degree in microbiology, and she has a lot of experience with animals and animal science.
Thank you. Another question here. Is this program available to standard North Valley students, or is it a separate standalone program?
So anybody at North Valleys High School can sign up for our classes. However, Signature Academy students or students that have been accepted into our academy do get first choice, and they get guaranteed a slot. Now, most of our classes are full at the beginning of every year. It doesn't mean you won't get in. Please sign up for the classes, but it's always best if you can sign up and get accepted into that Signature Academy so we can make sure that slot's guaranteed for you.
Does the CASE program offer transportation?
The CASE program offers transportation if you are in our zone. So if you're a zoned North Valleys High School student, we are the most bused school in Washoe County because we have a humongous zone and kids bus in from all over the place. But if you're outside our zone, it would be much more difficult for us to get a school bus for you. So we won't offer transportation there.
Another question, do you have a direct link to your school's website?
Yes. There's a direct link available on the Washoe County Schools or washoeschools.net website, and we can probably get you sent one too after this presentation.
Very good. So this is a little bit outside of the CASE program, but can you break down the cybersecurity program a little bit more and what that's about?
And they started the cybersecurity program this year. And this year I've been gone doing COVID response the whole year. So that's definitely not my expertise at this point. But not sure if you, Josh, if you know a little bit more about how to
Yes, so I can touch a little bit more. So as Mr. Lenz was saying, the cybersecurity program is new to North Valley's High School this year, and they primarily focus on topics of network security and protecting networks from any kind of malfeasance or intrusions. And then they also focus pretty heavily on standard computer science concepts such as coding. But again, it really is focused on maintaining a network and maintaining network security, if that's something that you're interested in pursuing.
I will add that the teacher in that subject is outstanding at North Valley's High School, and he's very passionate about that subject. So if you did sign up for that program, I'm sure you'd be happy with it.
Agreed. You would definitely be in good hands with Mr. Clark at North Valley's High School. Very, very passionate and also very, very knowledgeable about the field of cybersecurity and information technology in general. Another question, can you walk us through kind of the history of the CASE program and how it came to be?
Absolutely. About 5 years ago, I was teaching science at North Valley's High School, and they decided they were going to, well, I think about a year before that, they wanted to open up an agriculture program. And my wife was teaching science and down at Worcester, and she applied for the agriculture program and was hired. And I grew up on a ranch, thought that sounded pretty awesome also. And so I got my credential and was hired to do the ag mechanics program. And we kind of started that program together about 5 years ago, and maybe 6 years ago now. And so that's pretty much the history of it. We built it from there, and we've had a blast. We built it up from just a couple of sections to all day, every day with 3 different programs, including diesel tech. And it's been a lot of fun, and we've really grown. And the students have gotten very skilled in the classes as far as welding and mechanics and floral arrangements and agriculture science.
Thank you. A couple more specific questions. Can you go a little bit more into detail about the engineering aspects of the CASE program?
Absolutely. Depending on what kind of engineering you're interested in, I like to think that our program teaches you to be an independent technical thinker. So as far as engineering goes, if you're interested in mechanical engineering, we do 2-dimensional CNC with like Torchmate and some of the basic computer-aided design and drafting type of classes. So you can practice with SolidWorks and do some AutoCAD. But as far as the engineering part that I'm really proud of, it's taking those ideas in your head and learning what it takes to turn those ideas into reality. And that's fabrication. And that fabrication could be working with sheet metal. It could be fixing an engine in a way that you want to fix it, building a car maybe. If you bring in some junker and you want to work on it your junior or senior year and fix it up and make it work. Those kinds of projects, to me, teach you a lot about what it is to take a plan and an idea and turn it into reality. And going into an engineering field is a lot more than just doing math and doing planning and doing designing. That stuff's really important to be able to complete the schooling and to get the basic skill set. But you also need to understand how those things can translate to reality. And that's what we do.
Thank you. Along with that, and it's been touched on at various points, but can you talk a little bit about some of the typical career paths that students might move into after leaving the CASE program, and or any particular examples of careers that students have moved into after leaving the CASE program?
Oh, that's a fantastic question, and one of my favorite subjects, because I like to think that our program is very focused on employment after high school. I remain in contact with a lot of my students, and some of the career fields they've gone into that I'm most proud of. I have a student working for Otis as an elevator mechanics union mechanic, and he makes really good money and he's really happy in his career working on elevators. I have several students that are professional welders in the Ironworkers Union. One working for Martin Iron Works. I have several students doing diesel tech. I have students working at some of the different car dealerships in town doing mechanic jobs. I have a student who's an arborist. He goes around pruning trees for the power company. I have students that are going to a number of fields. A lot of my students end up going to the military because I was in the military for a long time. I'm very passionate about that. And then they stay in contact with me and traveling all over the world. We talked about global studies with some of the other schools. It's a neat way to see the world. And as far as diesel tech, the diesel tech class, pushing them into the same kinds of fields, into mechanics, into diesel tech, into welding. And then as far as agricultural science, we've had students go into working in commercial greenhouses. We've had students going into the agricultural distribution fields. And we've had several students going into like vet tech type fields where they're working, helping out vets. So it's a really neat wide range of career fields that will help prepare you for. And again, the thing I'm most proud of is teaching you to be an independent technical thinker so you can be adaptive to that workplace and be employable in that broad range of fields when you finish our program.
Wonderful, thank you. I have not asked this question of any of our other programs tonight, but could you talk a little bit about any of the career technical student organizations that students in the CASE program might be involved in?
Of course, my favorite and the one I'm most passionate about is the FFA, National FFA organization. I talk about all night. It's a very close-knit, very cultural rich, skilled and technical organization. And we do everything from leadership symposiums to competitions to travel and we have a very active chapter on the school campus. So that's what I'm most passionate about. We also do Skills USA, of course, and our culinary program that works with a couple of the other skilled and technical type of career and technical organizations. But my biggest one, of course, is FFA. But we definitely do Skills USA. And off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the other organizations they participate in culinary right now. But yeah, hope that answers that question.
For sure. Can you talk again, you've touched on it previously, but could you talk a little bit more about any particular projects that stand out in your mind that represent the CASE Academy fairly well?
Absolutely. So we've restored several generators, including a generator welder. We built that trebuchet last year, which was a lot of fun for the pumpkin chunking. We were going to do it again this year, but of course the COVID got in the way. That was a really neat program. It's a 30-foot, 3,000-pound trebuchet to launch pumpkins. We got them up to 192 feet out on the football field, which was pretty awesome. We've done some automotive restoration. We've fixed a lot of junker cars up, basically got them roadworthy and sold them to the students, which is a lot of fun. And we learned a lot doing that. Just thinking through it. We have a 1979 Trans Am right now we're restoring. We have a 1950 GMC pickup right now that we're restoring. That's all stripped down right now to bare metal sitting in the shop. We have a 1984 Jaguar got donated last year that one of my students is fixing up and restoring. And we also got a big international tractor trailer truck with a sandblaster that we're fixing up to operational status and hopefully going to get some money for that for our program. So we do a lot of restoration type projects. I know in the diesel program, they build engines. A lot of times they're building engines for students in the classes, but I know they break down and build engines all the time. And in the ag science program, of course, they have a huge array of different colors of poinsettias they typically do in the fall, and they sell those for Christmas as a fundraiser. And then they do garden starters in the spring as fundraisers. And those are really neat projects in the greenhouse to get the kids really engaged.
Thank you. I think we'll end up with one that's not tied to your CASE Academy, but is tied to your military service. We got a question. Can you explain a little bit more about your military science program and what makes it unique?
Absolutely. So we're the only Air Force military science program in Washoe County. I think we are. I might be forgetting one of the.
You are. Nope, you are.
What's the other one?
It's just you.
Just us. Okay, that's what I thought. And it chaps me a little bit just because I'm a 20-year Army guy and they're right across the hall. But they have a fantastic program and they're really proud of their battalion there. I think they have around 200 students in their battalion, and they're really passionate. And we share a lot of students across the hall. And the teachers, of course, we can give each other some flack across the hall also for different services. But they're actually the ones running or not running. Their military science program is kind of a new CTE program in that they're kind of adjusting their curriculum to be something new. But they're really passionate student base, really passionate instructors. And if you sign up for that program, I know you'd be really happy with it.
And on that note, to bring it back to CASE, is it possible to be in the middle, if you're zoned for North Valleys High School, or otherwise, is it possible to be a part of military science and in the Case Academy as well?
Absolutely. A lot of my students are both in ROTC and in the Case Academy. And since we're co-located, it actually makes it pretty easy.
Very good. So with that, unless you have anything else, Mr. Lenz, I think we will transition to our closing portion.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hartzar.
Thank you very much, sir. And with that, for our families, just want to provide a little bit more information about some additional programs that are available throughout our community. Just again, some private and charter programs. We have Bishop Monroe Catholic High School, their web link there, as well as the Coral Academy of Science, the Davidson Academy School for the Highly Gifted, the Encompass Academy, Washoe County School District's Gifted and Talented program, the North Star Online School program, as well as Sage Ridge School as well. And with that, we want to thank you for your time. Before you leave, we would ask, if you are able to, if you could go ahead and provide us with some very quick input by just filling out a quick 2-question survey at the bottom here. You can just enter that web address into your Web Explorer directly. Otherwise, you can find all of the information covered here this evening at our main district website, which is washoeschools.net/SACT. That's the Department of Signature Academies and Career Technical Education. Or if you're looking for information specifically specific to our signature academies, you can go to washoeschools.net/signature academies, or you can call our main number for our office, which is 775-327-3945. Otherwise, thank you to all of our participants who remained with us the entire time, and all of those who were able to join us this evening. We will be having another Passport night this Thursday night at the same time to cover the other half of all of our signature academies, as well as a few other of our programs. And then we will also be having a bilingual night next week on the 23rd, where families can receive interpretation services for Spanish-speaking families as well. And with that, we want to thank you for your time very much again, and we wish you a pleasant evening, and you can go ahead and leave the webinar at this point.